Now, what are the things that happen if you have a negotiation, a healthy negotiation? Sometimes it doesn't always feel great because you guys are giving and taking. It's not necessarily a win-win situation, but you can say, especially to a child, it's a win-win situation. But in reality, a negotiation isn't exactly a win-win because people are giving up something and they're also getting something. So each person should also, might need to give up a little something too. It's not just like, oh, you have to feel all good about it and I have to feel all good about it. Because then a kid can simply manipulate that and be like, wait, I don't feel good about that. A negotiation means, you know what? You gave up some of what you actually had hoped for, and so did I. And we came up with something where we both feel like it's appropriate. We feel right about it. We agree. There's an agreement that comes. When that agreement comes, boom, you've made a negotiation. Another thing is if you if it's an idea, if you guys both had input, if the ideas came from both people and both people feel heard. So that is a skill of negotiating. You can say, if you're going to learn to negotiate, you also need to be a listener because you really need to listen to what's important to me. If you're going to be negotiating, you need to make sure that not only I hear you, but that you hear me. Now we're negotiating. All right. Now it's an open discussion. It's not sneaky. There's nothing on the back burner. You want to say, when you're negotiating, you can bring up the things that are important to you and ask what's important to me. That's negotiation. See, so you're training your child how to negotiate properly. So when they watch you go into a restaurant or a place, or they see you in a discussion, or maybe you're a salesperson and they see you working to get a sale and you're bringing up all the positive things that person wants, and they're looking, look at the way my parent gets what they want. Say, well, it is important to be able to have the skill of negotiating, to level up a situation that you have, to be able to get the best deal that you can, the best situation for you. But negotiators are doing it for a purpose, for a reason of saying, okay, what does this person want? And what do I need? And how can I work out an outcome that will work for both of us? And then you feel good about it. A proper negotiation, any salesperson will tell you, both people walk away feeling pretty good. If you've ever been hard sold, this happens at times when we go to Mexico. I think there's a lot of people in Mexico that have a degree by the age of 8 of sales. And they have a lot of skills. And if you can admire it and be like, hey, you know what? The kid's got skills. But at times, if you walk away and you've said yes, but you really wanted to say no, it feels icky. It feels awful. It feels like you've been manipulated. There's the difference. Somebody might say, well, I was just an excellent salesperson because I got my way. But no, it was not all about getting your way. So you are going to even write this down on a whiteboard saying, what's the difference between manipulating and when we're negotiating? All right. So you can see that you'll be able to stop your child right where they're at and say, well, hold on right there. We are going to figure out, is this a debate? I mean, is this where you want to negotiate, or is this a manipulation? I'm going to take it a step further. You can also give your child a chance to ask. You could say, you know what, you might sometimes want to negotiate something better. But what I want you to do is I want you to ask me if you're not sure. I want you to say, Mom, is it okay if I negotiate something better with you right now? I have some ideas. Is it okay if I negotiate with Mom and Dad? And you can say, oh, they just followed the exact guideline that I asked. And sometimes it's, yeah, let's talk about it. What else? Let's negotiate. And you enter into a negotiation. on purpose. How powerful is that? Your child, then you could say at the end of that, that was a pretty good negotiation. Now, when you are going to allow negotiation for the right purpose of learning the skill, you also need your child to know that you're the parent at the end of the day, and that whether your answer is yes or whether your answer remains the same, they need to agree to be okay with that. I have said that to my daughter. I've said, well, let's talk about this, but you have to understand that my answer might still remain no. She doesn't like that, but it's the truth. So you need to be able to have them go in with the expectation that you're still the parent and you have the right to actually trump that situation and say no. But many times you'll be so surprised at the things they come up with, and you'll actually be okay with it. They might come up with a situation that's even better than what you had thought of, that works better for you. They might be like, well, Mom, I know that you need a little extra time to shop. So if you stay at Target a little longer, it will give me extra time. They get all creative, and you could say, all right, kudos. Nice try. I like it. I think about Never Split the Difference, one of my favorite books that I think is a people skills book disguised as a business book by Chris Voss. And if you guys want to get more information on proper negotiation and ways to negotiate and take that to your child in a very age-appropriate way, you make it a learning lesson at that point. Now, I'm wondering as well if sometimes we do forget that there's so many lifetime lessons that are disguised in our kids getting in trouble and our kids being caught doing things that they shouldn't have done. I'm thinking that maybe Jen's son, this was one of the first times that he had actually been caught doing something a little sneaky. All right. It might be embarrassing. It might be even alarming, because you're like, is this something my child is going to start doing all the time? These emotions might begin to run through you as a parent when your child is caught doing something. Before you overreact, try and wait and make it a learning moment, like we're talking about right now. Give them a chance to learn that skill. Now, if it's repetitive over and over again, that they're breaking rules that they know that they're not supposed to, that calls for a different discussion. But when they're caught, and this is a fairly new situation, say, looks like you were caught. You probably have done this before and not get caught, but you're caught today. So we need to talk about this. What should have you done? How do you think this would have gone differently? What would have been different if you made that choice instead? Let them figure that out. Let them tell you, because again, they might surprise you with what they already know. A child wants the best for them. And partly the best for them is you not being mad. So they're going to want to hide things. They're going to want to figure out a way to, mom's going to be so mad at me. Dad's going to be so upset. They try and be sneaky. When they do that, you can understand the reason why they did that. Be very curious as to, I wonder what's going on within this little mind to make them react in this type of way that seems manipulative and just plain wrong. And allow yourself to be curious. Because the truth is when we are truly curious about what's going on with our child, it's near impossible for us to be so angry that we overreact. Step back and choose curiosity. When you choose that, you'll look for some answers, some better answers. Does that mean that we're not going to sometimes overreact? You are going to sometimes overreact. You are going to sometimes have, I'm not going to say this word right. The amygdala, yeah. When it gets hijacked, right? The amygdala is the tiny little part in your brain. It's no bit bigger than, I think, an almond. And it is like the control center for your emotions. What science has found is that little control center is actually 75% negative. It looks for things that could go wrong. It lives in a place of that fearful state of things that could go wrong, things that could go wrong. So, I mean, you're not a negative parent if you have fears and worries and that you sometimes get that amygdala hijacked and you just